We're getting close to the end, which is a bummer, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little concerned we're gonna get a read the manga ending. Guess we're gonna have to wait and see on that one. But anyway, hello everybody! Welcome back to another one of our weekly Gleipnir videos. Today we're talking all about episode 11, The Price of Resolve. But before we get into that, I do, as always, want to give a big thank you to those of you who shared last week's video over on Twitter. So a big thank you to Bubba Lubber, Matt87Eagle, Blue Rose Enigma, and Sirius9752. Thank you all so much for sharing last week's video, and if you too would like to have your name in the next Gleipnir video, then be sure to share this video around on the internet, and then tag me at JoJo Talks Too Much over on Twitter, and I will be sure to shout out the first 5 of you in next week's video. Also, if you are not subscribed yet, then so help me, not even a trip to the alien will save you from what I would do to you, which is give you a stern talking to, but it would be the sternest talking to. Seriously, hit that subscribe button, please. Thank you. Anyway, let's go ahead and get this thing started. Okay, so episode 11 is an interesting one to me. There's definitely this sort of feeling of having gone too far in many regards. You have the aftermath of the fire and what happens to the group as a result, as well as just these many different confrontations with the alien, whether for good or ill. We'll have to wait and see. But before we get into all the stuff with the alien, which is arguably the most interesting part of the episode and definitely the more fascinating side of the episode, I do want to quickly address the aftermath of the fire, because it's definitely worth noting. The group is still very much concerned about the Saviors, or just Madoka's group, coming after them for revenge. Like, this is going to be a fear that many of them have going forward. Until eventually this the Kenshi-looking dude shows up for revenge. But until that point, for what seemed like several days, our group was just sort of left in limbo, waiting to see if there would be any sort of revenge on them for what they did. And it really weighs on them, in particular weighing on everybody outside of Claire and Shuichi, who seem to be much more comfortable at this point with where they stand. Again, if I might make another Walking Dead reference, and I keep making all these Walking Dead references, and people are like, are you a big fan? I was. I stopped watching the show many seasons ago, but this group does, I'm realizing more and more that if Madoka was Negan, then our group is very much like Alexandria, where Claire and Shuichi represent the hardcore side of things, like Glenn and Rick and Daryl and stuff like that. Then the other group is the rest of the group is just like the Alexandrians, where they're so not prepared for the world outside their window that you really see them rattled by the events of the fire. In particular, Sayaka and Miku were an interesting pair to see sort of come to terms with everything. Sayaka in particular, I really like. Sayaka might be growing to be my favorite character, just because not only because she's the leader, but the way she takes on what they've done as the leader and sort of is attempting to take responsibility, but you can tell is very much unsure about what they've done and how they're going to react to that and all this stuff. And she's really very much rattled by this. And what I like, and y'all know me because I'm shipping trash, but what I like is that Miku is there to sort of comfort her. And she says the convenience store line of, do you want me to heat this up? And it's her holding her hand, which I'm going to take in a cute way of her just warming up her hand, but you could take that however you want. But I thought it was cute. When Miku's like, hey, you want me to warm this up? Are you going to be okay? And Sayaka says, I really appreciate it, but it's not right for me to lean on you emotionally right now. And besides, your shift's about to start, so you should probably get to it. But I liked that scene outside of the convenience store. I really like these two in particular. This is a cute pair, and I want to see more from them. But again, I have a feeling we might be getting a read the manga ending next week, so I don't know if we're ever going to see Sayaka and Miku again. Who the hell knows? I guess we'll have to wait and see for next week. The other group, or rather pair, that we have to talk about is Esau and Yota at the station. And this one I found interesting as well, since Yota seems to be handling things a little bit better than Esau, who is totally messed up. And Esau is such a sweet kid. So I hate seeing how distraught he is. This is going to weigh on him. He's going to have to carry that weight for quite some time. His reaction, and when he just breaks down and starts crying and saying, I'm sorry I did that. I hate that I did that. And, like, it wasn't my, like, it's my fault, but it wasn't my fault. Like, he's very much conflicted. And Yota says, like, if you didn't do what you did, we would have died. You made the right call. It was screwed up and messy, but you made the right call. And Yota seems more upset than, Yota doesn't seem upset that people died. He seems upset that he wasn't the one who took the initiative to protect everybody. He seems upset that Claire was the one who thought of it. And not that he's, like, necessarily mad at Claire. It's just, like, he feels as though his pride was hurt more than anything. Like, more than the physical wounds he got in the fight, it's his pride that took the biggest shot to the ego. And honestly, I kind of feel Yota because, like, I wanted to see more from Yota. And, like, the fact that he gets jobbed out, I was like, oh, I see your role in Gleipnir now. Yota, I'm sorry, my boy. That's rough. And Esau just breaks my heart. And what cracked me up, though, is seeing these two, like, using the green tea from the vending machine as ice packs. Like, using the green tea to sort of put a cold surface to their wounds. Not that there's, like, deep wounds or anything, but their injuries, like, pushing the green tea up to their face and everything. It was a charming little moment. I really like Esau and Yota. I don't ship Esau and Yota or anything. I just think that this is a good dynamic, like this sort of big brother, younger brother thing. If anything, you can argue that they have a sort of Steve and Dustin thing from Stranger Things going on there. I want to see more from Esau and Yota, although, again, I don't know what kind of ending we're going to get. I'm not going to keep harping on that, but just know that anytime I say I want to see more, it's me hoping we get a second season, but who knows what's going to happen. Then you get Shuichi and Claire on the trail home, and this one, Shuichi's two interactions between Claire and Yoshioka, I think are very telling about what's ultimately going to happen, but Shuichi and Claire on the trail home, and I guess to a lesser extent, Yoshioka and Shuichi on the school roof, both sort of indicate the same thing, that Shuichi is starting to feel this sense of responsibility. Like, maybe there's a small part of Shuichi that's coming back into form, and, like, he's gaining more and more confidence, but he's also getting more and more agitated by the events of the coin game, the coin collecting game, which I will remind you, they keep referring to as a game. And y'all got so defensive when I called it a killing game. Y'all got so defensive and kept emphasizing, it's a scavenger hunt, it's a scavenger hunt. Except every character in the story refers to it as a game. Shocker. Anyway, sorry, it's just, that cracks me up. But anyway, Shuichi is very much seeming more and more agitated, but I think the scene with him and Claire walking home and Claire, like, running up to him and hugging him when he says that it wasn't just Claire's idea, that he is embracing this sense of responsibility for the fire, and that he's willing to go to dark places now to protect not only the group but specifically Claire, and to get answers for himself. And this causes Claire to run up and hug him and apologize for dragging him in. And I think Claire is starting to see the signs that I've been noticing for the last little bit. I don't know if I've necessarily mentioned it in a video, but Shuichi is getting colder the further in we go, and I'm worried about my boy. I'm sensing very much a Kaneki Ken path for him, but I don't know if Shuichi is as prepared to walk down that path as Kaneki was, and Kaneki wasn't even really prepared when it comes down to it. So I don't know. I'm definitely worried about Shuichi, and that worry stretches into Kenshi versus Shuichi. And I know his name's not Kenshi, but this kid looks like Kenshi, so I'm gonna call him Kenshi. And the reason why I'm concerned is that this dude confronts Shuichi, saying that he's the last one, which is a little bit confusing because he says that Madoka saved 5 of them, saved 5, and that a bunch of them died in the fire, and that he's the last one. So I wasn't super clear. I'm like, okay, so is he the last? Like, he's saying he's the last one, but does he mean he's the last one alive, or does he mean like he's the last one that's still acting as part of Madoka's group? I don't really know. I guess it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, because if any of them do come for Shuichi, this man has a new resolve, because my God, Shuichi versus Kenshi definitely doesn't have the animation that other fights have had. I can definitely feel like Pine Jam is starting to sort of wind down and relax a little bit not that the fight is like garbage or anything. It's just not as well animated as previous fights were. But yeah, you can tell Shuichi is getting more pissed at like the further in he goes, and he's not even really interested in fighting Kenshi as much as he is finding out information about Abukawa, because he notices that Abukawa's been gone. That's his classmate, the dude who we saw like burying a dog earlier. He notices that Abukawa is gone, and then he hears through the grapevine that they found a body that had washed up in the river, and it looked like Abukawa. So Shuichi, like when Shuichi gets the upper hand on Kenshi, he confronts him about this, saying like, "Where is Abukawa? Like he's a good kid. Like I refuse to believe that he joined you guys willingly, blah, blah, blah." But Kenshi reinforces something in Shuichi, just saying like, "Listen, man, like you can think whatever you want, but this version of Abukawa that you have in your head, this version of Madoka that you have in your head, or of me, or our group, there may be truth to it, but you don't really know us. You didn't know any of us." And it's like, oh, like him saying like, you think, like you might think you're the main character of this story, but you're not. But at the same time, Shuichi is openly admitting several times in the episode that he is not the main character of the story, which I find kind of interesting. And the more you think about it, he's kind of not, as we find out later in the confrontation with the alien and some of the flashback stuff. Shuichi may not be the quote-unquote main character of the story. He's certainly our protagonist, but he might not be the character taking center stage, you know what I mean? But regardless, he is definitely growing up, because Shuichi definitely takes responsibility for Kenshi and guns him down, which I was shocked by. That to me is like, as soon as that man put his hand on the trigger, that was it. Shuichi is the innocent one that we've known for the last like 10 episodes. That boy is gone. And I am very concerned about what happens next. But I do got to talk about the alien, because the alien has several different encounters this week. He has one at the beginning of the episode with Elena. And this is where I really got to hammer home the like gone too far element of the episode, because Elena confronts him basically like requesting him to just end this. And he says like, nah, it's got like, I couldn't even stop it at this point if I tried. Like, I wouldn't even know where to start. Like this game has gone on far beyond me. And Elena gets mad and like tries to like, it grabs him by the throat and says like, if I kill you, would this game end? And the dude just says like, it might, I don't know, maybe, I doubt it. Like at this point it's gone on so far that I don't even know where this thing ends, and Elena just breaks down. And Elena breaking down I thought was interesting, and I assume maybe it was just the stress of trying to protect Claire and Shuichi, but the more I think about it, and the more we see in the episode, it's not just them, it's just the sheer amount of hell that Elena has been through over the course of the show so far, and especially now knowing what we know, it definitely paints Elena breaking down in a different light. And then later on in the episode, you have Shuichi confronting the alien just prior to his fight with Kenshi, and Shuichi basically asks him about his past, and the alien again is very much like open. He's a neutral party. Like he's not keeping secrets. He's not necessarily blabbing everything to everybody. He's allowing people to ask him for favors and then he'll do them. You know, he's not picking a side here. He's very much open. And the alien, I can never quite tell like what his deal is. Like the alien's an enigma in this show, and it's not nowhere more apparent than with Shuichi, because he straight up says like, you can bow out if you want. Like, you don't have to continue this game. There's no shame in quitting. In fact, I'll turn you back to normal right now if you want. Like, I'll tell you what happened and turn you back to normal. You can leave. In fact, if anything, like, Claire might be happier if you did leave, because she'll know that you're not, like, that you're safe. Like, you can bow out if you want right now. And Shuichi gets pissed by that. And he basically, again, emphasizes that he can't turn back now. This is the point in the story where you can't turn back. The characters have gone too far. Things have escalated too high. That at this point, like, as the alien says, like, you can't go, like, this is the point where you can't go home again. Like, they've all gone too far, done too much, and seen too much. And even if you put, like, the mind whammy on Shuichi, he'd probably just come back anyway. So at this point, Shuichi knows, like, no, like, I can't turn back. And you can keep looking down on us humans, but the road to hell has been paved by good intentions. And you really get that feeling. Like, he doesn't say those words specifically, but that is definitely what Shuichi's getting at, is that everybody has their own good intention behind collecting the coins. And yes, they do turn on each other, and yes, people die, but there is a good intention. There's a heart at the core of it, even if it's corrupted and dark. And that seems to be what, at first I assumed that's what the alien is like into, but then we get the flashback. The alien essentially is reflecting on memories of this girl who was very kind to him, this girl named Honoka. And she's the one who gave this man the idea for the coin game because he was too lazy to do it himself. And it's this sweet little scene where he's like sort of he's not like into her, but he finds her like curious. And this is before the coin game even starts, because it's Honoka who gives him the idea. But as they're talking, you can really see him like sort of learning to become human by talking with Honoka and being around her. And whoever this girl was seemed very sweet. And I was thinking, like, I wonder what happened to her. And then by the end of the episode, you find out what happened to Honoka. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I was shocked, because Honoka turns out to be one of the girls who was in that summer school with Elena and Shuichi. And I got chills when she turned around with the phone, and I was like, no way. Like I literally, even saying it, I had goosebumps. I was like, whoa, the person who gave him the idea for the coin game was somebody from Shuichi's like summer school class. That's a mind bender to me. Like, that's insane to me. I lost my mind. I was like, that's such a cool idea. And again, it reinforces the idea that he's not the main character. At the very least, he's not the one he's not central to the core narrative. He's our protagonist, and he's our main character of his own story, but to the greater scope of the world he inhabits, he's not the main character. If anything, it's Honoka, and we see what happens to her later. But Honoka, like, it's a crazy scene to me when she turns and it shows them. And the reason why she's showing them is saying, like, I'll call my friends to help start the game, the coin game. And they'll help collect the coins for you if you give them a wish. And that's where it starts. That's where things went wrong. So Elena and Shuichi have been playing this game for a long time. Like, a long time. And I have chills thinking about it. Which does lead us nicely into the last scene we see, where this Lion-O-looking dude, he ends up axing off a bunch of people who end up finding the crash site in the middle of the night. So Lion-O is just out here looking for the spaceship, or not even looking for the spaceship, but seemingly guarding the spaceship in the middle of the night. Lord knows what he's eating or like how he's doing up in that forest. But Lion-O is one of the dudes from the photo. So he's one of the summer school kids. And he is defending the crash site, and he ends up killing these dudes. And we see that he has like some sort of ghost-like creature who might be standing up for him. Anyway, so he has this like ghost-like creature who is standing up for him. And I was like, that's very interesting. Like, who is this girl using this Buster Sword looking move? She has like this big ass Buster Sword looking thing. And then he refers to her as Honoka. And I was like, what does that mean? What does that mean? And my main theory, like as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, what is this dude doing? What could he be protecting? And why would he be protecting it? Like, I know that, like, okay, so what is he doing? He's protecting something. What is he protecting? He's protecting the crash site. So clearly the ship is there with what I assume to be a majority of the coins. Why is he doing it? And my biggest theory right now is that if somebody collects the coins, their wish could be to end the game. And if they end the game, that might mean that everybody goes back to normal. If everybody goes back to normal, maybe that means that Honoka would go away, because she very much looks like a ghost at this point, so I have to assume she's already dead and is just like a ghost helping this Lion-O looking dude. And if she goes away, that's it. Like, if the game goes away, she could she could just disappear, leaving Lion-O alone. So maybe he's trying to keep the game going to keep her around. That's my theory. That's just the theory. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but that's what I got. But with that said, everybody, I'm gonna wrap up my thoughts here. I don't know what's gonna happen next week. I'm curious. Again, I'm a little bit nervous, but we'll see what happens next week. But on that note, everybody, if you enjoyed today's video, then don't forget to boop that up snoot and share if you care. And of course, as always, I have to give a big thank you to the lovely folks in the T Squadron. Look at all these beautiful people. If you too would like to join these beautiful people, then be sure to check out that first link in the description to check out our Patreon page. For less than a cup of coffee a month, you could help keep this channel afloat, and I would very much appreciate that. But this is where I leave you, everybody, so I hope you have an awesome day. I'm gonna go edit this quick and then immediately play some Pokemon. I'm super excited because the DLC just came out. But until next time, you stay classy, AnyTube, and wash your dang hands.